ben Rutger van Loud Noise. We zijn hier op Hellmond Open Air en ik sta hier met Vernon en Reid van Living Color. Ze hebben net gespeeld en ik ga hem nu een paar vragen stellen. Okay, so Vernon, you just played Hellmond Open Air. How did you find it?
It was a great gig. It had a big technical problem where the power came off on the stage and there was a problem with the stage and the crew worked it out and it kind of threw our rhythm off because we had exactly how it was planned, and I thought, it's like life, like unexpected things happen. You make a plan and then something goes sideways, and so it wound up being really, I thought, pretty cool.
And it's the start of your tour today?
This is an omen. It's our first show of the tour, yeah.
It's your first show of the tour.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to the rest of the tour?
Well, not if that happens every day. I'm looking forward to the rest.
Our festival, the slogan is Party Like It's 1993. In that same year, on the 31st of May, you guys played at Pinkpop, one of the most popular shows in the Netherlands.
Sure.
What do you remember of that day?
It was very exciting. It was very exciting because it was one of the biggest shows. It was one of the biggest shows up to that point that we ever played. It's so funny because my relationship to the Netherlands is long. I came here, the first country I came to, I played the Den Haag with Ronald Shannon Jackson many years ago.
Right.
So this is the first country. I took my first flight in an airplane and I flew to Holland. So I have a long association with the nation. And so all of the things, with Pinkpop and the way the country has accepted the band has been very gratifying.
And in that same year, you guys released your third studio album, Stain. And I noticed you played quite a lot of songs from that record today.
Yeah.
Was that because today is a metal festival?
Kind of. We kind of were like, what? The thing about Living Color is that we play like such a crazy variety of music that we can actually kind of adjust it, and it still feels like a real Living Color show. It's not. It's actually fun to play This Little Pig, and people would have loved Glamour Boys too, right? But we just thought, we'll play this, we'll play that, and have change it up a little bit.
So what you're saying is that you don't feel like you have to change your set to fit in today?
No, because there's so many people in the metal community. They respect authenticity. I mean, there's some people who are hardcore, but there are a lot of people who are like, you know what, though? They will give respect. Like my dear friend Alex Skolnick from Testament, he stopped playing metal to learn jazz. So my feeling about that is you come real, and people respect that.
Yeah.
I mean,
so saying metal isn't really saying much at all?
Well, yes and no. I mean, there are a lot of different, things. Evanescence is metal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's like sort of like very much. It's almost like Elton John songwriting. The songwriting is, and we just did a festival, and it was beautiful. It was like, there are heavy parts of it, but it's a kind of singer-songwriter metal, right?
Yeah.
So it's all over from the Cookie Monster scenario to, the emo thing. But, the arguments about what's metal, what's pure metal, whatever. One of my favorite people in the whole, is one of the Godfathers, who was one of the first people, was Lemmy from Motorhead. When we first came on the scene, Lemmy was wonderful to us. And he actually talked about us in a magazine, and he was Hendrix's roadie, you know what I mean? The last time I saw him was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we were both playing a tribute to Chuck Berry. And, and he had so much respect for the roots of the music. And so it's very special. At the same time, I played on a Ramones record. I played on this song, Cabbies on Crack, and, Joey Ramone was just, such a wonderful person. So people in the heavy, hard community, really, I have a great deal of affection for a lot of the people in the scene. Blah 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 blah. Translate that.
So this is kind of a throwback festival. You'll see in the lineup, it's a lot of bands that were, let's say they were very big in the 90s.
Yeah, sure.
And many things has changed, the world has changed. What do you think the biggest differences are today as back then as a touring band or as a musician in general?
One thing has to be said is that the role of music in people's lives it's changed. It's different. When you had to buy music, people would line up. You know, if a record was coming out, people would be super excited about it. Now we have remnants of that. Part of the reason why the festivals are doing well is because COVID and the pandemic shut everything down. So when it came back, people really wanted to hear music. I mean, it's weird. One of the weirdest things for me, one of the most, in a way, hopeful things, is the fact that vinyl records still exist. How is this even a thing? How, you know, because people kind of want to feel things.
It's a physical thing. You can touch it.
It's a physical.
You have to listen to it. You have to turn it around.
You have to turn it over because we're living with a kind of tyranny of convenience.
There's so many options that you don't really want to choose.
So many options that you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
And this is a feature of the modern world. And increasingly, the technologists are going to offer all kind of magical things. Because AI, right? And I'm not against technology at all. But if you think about it, AI is an imp. Like AI is like a creature in your phone that you can talk to. AI is an elf you meet under a bridge. And the elf offers you something, right?
Yeah.
Or a fairy,
visual,
or a fairy, right?
Yeah.
And this is the thing, you have to be careful of the gifts you accept from imps and fairies, because nothing's free. It's like you can make a metal song by asking a music program to make it. So the problem with that, that's great for people that don't play an instrument, they've never, and it's like, oh wow, it's cool, right? But it's also, it's deeply problematic. The problem with it is, I think it could create the why bother effect.
Sorry?
The why bother effect.
Why bother? Yeah.
Why bother, right? If
why
you know
would
that the machine can play chess, right?
Yeah.
Better than a human being.
Why would you want to learn chess?
Why would you want to learn the game of chess?
One of the things you're also known about is that you, in your career, have tried hard to give more recognition to black artists, especially in the metal and the hard rock scene. It's 2024 now. We would all like to think that things have changed positively. Are those issues less prevalent today?
Well, I think they're part of there's a few different things, right? Looking at history, right? Looking at history and the experience of the perceived advantage. And, you know, there are many white people who are broke. Like, whiteness is not a guarantee that you can enter the special room, specifically Europe, right? The idea of whiteness was a way to dodge around the fact of ethnicity. Like, the countries in Europe have been in conflict because there are no white people. They're the Dutch people, they're the British people, they're the French people, they're the Polish people, they're the Russian people, they're the Finns, there's the Swiss, right? And the history of Europe is a history of bloody conflict. Like, the idea of the European Union, that's like 100, 200 years ago. The idea of a European Union, like the they'd have been appalled. They would have been like, are you kidding? They would have been very, very upset.
We spent all these years fighting for our nation.
What? You know,
Yeah.
the dudes the dudes in the tin suits would be very upset. You know, the dudes
would definitely.
I put on all this shit. I can't put on all this. I put on all this heavy ass shit for sovereignty. How dare you? You know. So they're not happy. And you know, and then all the subsequent things that have gone on. Colonialism going into countries, taking over their resources, da da da. So then people, years later, people that didn't do it, you didn't do it. You didn't own a big ship. You didn't throw people under the ship.
Yeah.
But yet and still, we have to live with like faint echoes of a conversation, you know, about the immigrant, about the migrant, about the African, about the Moroccan, about the blah, blah, blah. And and we're stuck. We're held responsible for things that we didn't do. Even with Living Color and rock and roll music, rock and roll music, we all did it. Like everybody, the Latinos, the Europeans, the Jews, the blacks, we all everybody did a thing to make rock and roll, right? Not just black people. Oh, you know, Buddy Holly, you know, Roy Orbison. You know, these are great people. They're part of it. The problem is when the people that started it get shut out of it.
Yeah.
Suddenly, because it's not just the music, it's who writes about it, who tells the story, who tells the narrative, who sets up the festivals, who sets up the record companies.
Yeah.
These are all part and parcel of the same thing. And it's the same situation with gender. It's the same situation like, you know, women are supposed to do this. I mean, like there's all of these things, and people are working out all their things. And part of it is people are uncomfortable. Like one of the greatest bands of all time is Queen. You know, Queen.
Yeah.
The band is called Queen. And people were like, it's like, you know, like people were like, Freddie Mercury's gay? Are you serious?
Yeah.
The band is called Queen.
It was right there all along.
It's like this. He was like, duh.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's remarkable the effect that they had on metal as well as pop.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of metal having a classical vibe, right? That was underscored by Queen. So a lot of different people did a lot of different things. And my whole thing with recognition, you know, it's like, you know, people should, you know, to me, one of my biggest things talking about is the guitarist Ernie Isley from the Isley Brothers. Because in the 70s, he didn't get the respect he deserved. He just didn't, you know? And it was like, you know, and as much as I love Rory Gallagher, you know, he was on the cover of the guitar magazines, and Duane Allman was on the cover. And Ernie Isley, he kept the sound of Hendrix. Hendrix was in the Isley Brothers band. He met Hendrix when he was a kid. So he kept that sound alive on hit records. Not just that he was good and he on, you know, Summer Breeze and, you know, Who That Lady and all of these tunes that were popular. And he was not recognized for what he was doing. You know, and that's one of the clearest examples to me of the kind of oppression, you know.
So we've talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I know, I just keep talking.
It's been that's true, but it's been a deep conversation at times. No, it is true.
When I can get a word in edgewise.
Let's just do something light to finish it off.
Sure.
I'm just gonna name 10 things, and I would like you to just name the first thing that comes to mind. Try to keep it short. Try to keep it light. Let's just run through them. It's only 10.
I won't get deep. I promise.
All right. Okay. Sure. The Netherlands.
Cheese.
You're actually the second one that said that.
Fantastic cheese. Fantastic cheese.
Fantastic cheeses. You heard it. You heard it. Urban Dance Squad.
Oh, say a little prayer for my demo.
All right. And Since it's a 90s festival, 90s fashion.
Oh my God, 90s fashion. Oh, 90s fashion. Polka dot shirts.
Polka dot shirts.
Polka
That's a
dots.
90s thing?
90s.
All right.
Polka dot shirts.
New York City.
Oh my gosh. Home sweet home.
Bad Brains.
The best.
The best.
The best. The best.
CBGB.
Oh. I wouldn't be here without it. Hilly Crystal.
Shout out to CBGB.
Always.
Platoon.
Platoon. Oh my God, the beast is hungry.
Lil Richard.
No glam without him.
Heavy Metal.
Heavy mental.
Heavy Metal. And last but not least, Living Color.
Oh, it's been a long, strange trip.
And it hasn't ended yet.
And it hasn't ended yet.
Okay, I want to thank you very much for playing at our festival, for doing this interview, for taking
Thanks
the
for
time.
having us, and it was, I enjoyed our conversation. I enjoyed my monologue.
I enjoyed it as well. Thank you very much. That was Vernon Reid of Living Color here at Hellmond Open Air.